So before we talk about the multipolar neurons, right? And now we're talking about the bipolar neurons. What is bipolar neurons? When two poles are used, such neurons are called as a bipolar neurons. See, this is the cell body, right? And this is the nucleus, and this is the cell body. From here, this and this is one pole, this is another pole, and from this pole it's giving rise to the dendrites, right? And from this pole it's giving rise to the axons, and axons are dividing into two parts. So here two poles are used as giving rise to two structures, that is dendrites and the axons. So this is called the bipolar neurons. So what are these, where are these bipolar neurons located? Number one is the olfactory neurons, and number two is the retina of the eyeball. Olfactory neurons and retina of the eyeball, all these are the bipolar neurons. Now coming to the topic of this pseudo-unipolar neuron. What is pseudo-unipolar neuron? This is unipolar, but this is a pseudo, right? So from this word we understand what is this pseudo-unipolar. That this is not a true, it's a pseudo-unipolar neuron, right? So let's know the history about this pseudo-unipolar neuron. And why it is basically called as pseudo-unipolar neuron is, actually it is not a pseudo-unipolar, it is a bipolar only. But look here what has happened. See, this is the nucleus, right? See, this is the nucleus and this is the cell body. And here is the one pole, here is the two pole, right? Here there is a two pole, right? But what happens is the here a small depression has happened here, this red one, right? Here a small depression has happened, and then after this depression, this nucleus will invaginate into this depression. See, this is the second picture. This is a nucleus and this small depression has happened, and this nucleus will invaginate in this depression, and this two pole. After this what happened? This poles and this pole. One pole here, one pole here. So this both pole are pulling each other towards each other. See, these poles are pulling here, this poles is pulling here. So both poles are pulling each other. So what will happen? See, we'll see, continue in the next picture. So this is the picture when both poles pulled each other and this came and joined as a one single pole, right? Both the poles joined together, and here is the one processes, here is the one processes, and this has become now both here was one pole and here was one pole, and both the poles pulled each other and came and joined as and became as a single pole, right? So this, and then these two processes, right, on stage of development, how it looks like this way, single pole, right? So this is not a single pole, two poles actually has fused together, and this is a one process, this is a two process, right? And this two processes in this way. So this is a unipolar, but once you know the entire history, this is not a true unipolar, right? Actually it was a bipolar neuron which converted into a unipolar neuron. So why it is called as pseudo-unipolar neuron? So where do you see this pseudo-unipolar neuron? First important location where do you see is your spinal ganglion, right? Spinal ganglion, that is dorsal root ganglia. And number two is the sensory ganglia. Second place where these neurons are basically present is the sensory ganglia. And sensory ganglia is a 5th, 7th, 9th and 10th cranial nerve is involved. In sensory ganglia, 5th, 7th, 9th and 10th cranial nerve is involved, right? Thank you.